It's real important for people to go to YouTube and look up Network again and view that scene where he said, there is no country. There's only, and he goes down the list. There's only IBM. He names all the corporations. And that's the way it really is. And so it's kind of hard to imagine our legislature ever changing its mind on funding war.
Right. Speaking of corporations and debt, I was a little disappointed to come back to Portland and find out that because of a few parking tickets, there's a warrant out for my truck. And so, yes, Portland's viewed as progressive to a certain level, and I think there's something special about the city and some of the people that are here and the creative energies that are here and the activist spirit. But I also see the corporate dominance, the influence, the target in downtown Portland, the higher rates, utilities going up, up, up and away. And I can definitely see how in the 2.5 years since I've been gone, by Portland being named the #1 city to move to in the United States, what that's done to the cost of rent, what that's done to levels of jobs being available, and what that's done for the lives of homeless. Because a lot of them are being swept out of certain corners. So there's a number of things that I've noticed that are happening here in Portland that are less than progressive, that still need our attention. And I want to commend KB Radio for a great show a few nights ago where they were talking about how the Portland police are experimenting on the homeless. They're setting up their own intelligence agencies in a way. They're practicing on the homeless, maybe for what they're going to be doing later on down the line.
I have some friends that are fighting that, yeah.
In addition, the nightclub scene in downtown Portland, the police have installed these cameras, as you probably read in Willamette Week or saw in the local news. In these nightclubs, and the bouncers that now have to be certified by the state, the old world is gone. You just can't hire the tough guy of your choice. He's got to be certified in the police state. Well, they're scanning these IDs, so in the databases, the Portland police know who's in those buildings. That's creepy. That's not CIA. That's not federal government. That's our own locale. So we definitely need to keep the focus on the military in addition to other things. Militarization of local police, JTTF, FBI, Portland police working together, and whoever else the Portland police in the city of Portland's working with. I heard that the mayor of Portland is not allowed to see the JTTF plans. That sounds like Peter DeFazio, who was on that Homeland Security Committee when he wasn't allowed to see Bush's contingency plans.
What is that, the Joint Task Force, Joint Terrorism Task Force.
Went into effect in 2010 after the staged, because they took that guy from Somalia. They took him to Lincoln County. They showed him how to blow up a backpack. They recruited him on the internet. All the facts came out in the Oregonian. Front page news, doesn't matter. They used that event where they coaxed that person to go down to Pioneer Courthouse Square. And everybody was freaking in Portland one day in 2010 where they were told this guy tried to blow up your downtown. And it was all set up by the FBI. Yeah, now they're here.
The FBI, we did shows on that, how the FBI continually saves us from these terrorist plots. And it turns out that they were the FBI's terrorist plots that they carefully set up so they could save it. Because they can't catch the actual terrorist plots, if there are any. But by golly, they sure are. They're pretty easy to catch if you invent them yourself.
That's true. And Hal
we do have a phone call.
Hal Turner was an FBI informant, by the way, as a white supremacist. That's also something people might want to look into.
Okay, caller. You're on the air. And by the way, I turned down the volume too low on that telephone. Just bump it up a little bit more. But I don't hear the guy at all. Are you there?
We can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I on?
Yes, you are. I think.
That would be you.
Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're on the air.
Yeah, I never got to hear much information about the plane that went down in the field in Pennsylvania. Can you get any kind of video and bring that up on your show?
Yeah, there's not very much there except the lack of any, there doesn't seem to be any of the plane's debris. And if I recall, what they claimed was that it hit the ground so hard, and right where there happened to be a mine shaft, and the entire plane debris and all those people and any luggage went down that shaft and pulled dirt in after it and buried itself. And our technology just isn't sufficient. We could dig the mine shaft in the first place, but we can't redig it to get any of that plane out. Yeah. But somebody said that they recovered 93% of the plane from Philadelphia, or 93, 95, some huge percentage of the plane. And I don't believe they've recovered any of it. So I want to know if anybody's heard that that claim about the recovered plane from Pennsylvania, I'd sure like to know the reference material.
Yeah. Also, I got a little something to say about that Sandy Hook elementary school shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of hearing all these politicians, all these idiots on TV keep talking about, oh, what can we do? What can we do to prevent this and that? These all guys all go to Harvard, Yale, and all these other schools. I've never once heard anybody mention combination lock gun safe. 4 words. If this woman she had plenty of money. She lived in a beautiful house. She bought, like I heard, about 4 assault weapons and an automatic pistol, probably a dozen boxes of various ammunition. She had an unstable child at home. She was supposed to be an educator of some sort. Now, she should have had the brains when she was in the shop looking at all these weapons to look over and say, what's those things that look like big refrigerators? Why do you got those in here? Well, those are gun safes. You lock up your weapons so other people can't take them and use them on you. I've never heard anybody ever mention those 4 words. I believe that would have prevented the whole situation. I'll take your comment on air. I love your program. I was wondering who the heck you were. I always see your name as producer, and now I know who you are. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that the whole key to the story of those shootings, if you take these shootings at face value without trying to inject sometimes very valid conspiracy theories about the government's involvement, but just take it on face value from the first part of it, the one thing that every shooter seems to have in common is that he's taking these drugs called SSRIs. That's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Now, that's a great big line of medical talk, but what it boils down to is the people who take that, it's like when you're watching TV and they're trying to sell for I have no idea why they try to sell medicine on TV, because it's the doctor that prescribes it. But, this is good for you, except it does things like creates baldness, pain in your butt, all these, a whole
Try dating and living with someone on that stuff. Oh,
yeah, anyway, but it turns out that the serotonin reuptake inhibitors create suicidal and homicidal emotions in people universally. It's one of the things that you're supposed to work very closely with your doctor, and that the first sign of a thought of suicide or the first sign of aggression, the doctor's supposed to make adjustments to the medication and catch the problem. But that isn't happening. They're just passing these things out like candy, and they're universally declaring people in need of these drugs when they are not in need of the drugs, and it creates a whole bunch of really dangerous situations.
An inclination to suicidal behavior is the effect, not the side effect. It's the effect.
Right. It turns out that it is the effect, and you couple this, you give that to an otherwise person who's in the society, legal, and he's able to buy guns. It doesn't matter how many regulations you have, especially when you consider the option of some crazy person stealing a gun from somebody who has it legally. So it's not the guns per se, it's the serotonin reuptake inhibitors that you have to watch. And, admit to the people that these drugs are being misprescribed, admit that the drugs shouldn't probably be prescribed at all in the first place, and admit that they're the cause, not the guns. Ta-da! Next. Okay, we have one more caller. Looks like we don't have to play the other videos. Oh, okay. Well, we do have another call. Okay, go ahead, caller.
Hey, call me skeptical, but do you think there's any possibility one of our 3-letter national government agencies, or somebody else for that matter, could have assisted those 3 young people that had the shootout with the police officer and left the police dog dead last week? You guys know about that, right?
No, I haven't even heard about it. Of course,
you hear about that?
I'm not as thorough as you might think.
Just 2 days. I think it was Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. The police got a call for a burglary at Blumenthal Uniforms up in Southwest Barber Boulevard, just up by 30th there.
Right.
And they chased these guys down Capitol Highway, and can't remember the name of the side street, but it was about halfway between Taylor's Ferry and Garden Home Road there. And So anyway, that's where they had the shootout with the cops, and these guys had the one guy that was a shooter. I think from what I could see from the news, there was one guy that was a shooter. He had like an AR-15 style rifle, or actually an AR-15. I'm not sure. I heard both reports.
I thought I saw. Yeah, I think I saw that. But yeah, it's funny how they emphasize that it was an assault rifle. It wasn't an assault rifle at all. It was just an ordinary single action semi-automatic rifle that's been dolled up with some plastic. So.
Oh, okay. They said it. One news.
In other words,
vulture said it was.
In other words, it was not an M16, which would have been an assault rifle. It was probably an M15, which is just an ordinary rifle that looks like the M16. I mean,
or an AR-15. Now, one news, I can't remember which news channel it was here, local news, said that it was an AR-15, and another one said it was an AR-15 like rifle.
Yeah,
so
okay, because they have a whole bunch of different ones, the Bushmaster and other things like that. But the deal is, when you hear them say AR-15, listen to this. When you say AR-15 and then in the same breath they call it an assault rifle, that's a lie. There isn't going to be an assault in the world using that rifle.
Well,
now, maybe the automatic one, the fully automatic one, the version of the M16 is an assault rifle, but not the AR-15. So let's get it straight. I'm not exactly a gun toter or whatever. But I want to have some truth.
I would like you two guys to put your brains together and just see what you can come up with.
Brain soup.
As far as if there could be any kind of I'll put it this way: did anybody encourage them or help them along attain those weapons? Kind of like Fast and Furious into Mexico.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to address part of this.
Go ahead. The government supplies the weapons and then busts you for them. Right. I know about that. Go ahead. Is that it?
Well, I'll answer it off the air, but it's also I want to respond in relation to Michael Rupert's suicide.
Oh, okay.
Whenever the caller is done making their comments.
Right. Okay. Anyway, but that's just why I want people to ponder is, could there have been, well, I guess the question to ask, where did these kids get their guns, and was anybody encouraging them to do what they did? To break into a police uniform and supply shop.
And I know where that place is, that police uniform and supply shop. Yeah, so when I get a chance to get online, I'm going to look up that story.
Wait for this. Now, they not only sell uniforms there, badges, guns, armor vests, all kinds of things that a cop would need, or firefighters for that matter, because they carry firefighter uniforms there too. But the point of it is, and badges, but the main thing is they had guns there, and I can't remember if these guys, I know the news vulture said they got away with some badges, some uniforms, and some vests and whatnot, but I'm just wondering, did anybody put them up to this, or did they foment this thing all by them little selves?
I don't know, but Bill?
I would like to find out for sure. So if you guys are in the news gathering business, you might look into that. Of course, once I mention anything about it on the TV here, they're all going to be covering their behinds, to kind of sweep away the trail. But
I'm sure if there's any covering, they're already doing it.
And I may just be
Bill,
too
can I take 3 minutes before we go off the air and explain the situation?
Yeah,
all right.
Okay, thanks, caller. And
you guys take care.
we'll look into that.
All right.